So let's talk about the repulsive Stephanie Jenkins. She made this strange post, kind of a rant, where she thinks she knows it all once again. And her reasoning makes absolutely zero sense in this long post she made. She says, "Are you the type to plan days outside or inside during heat waves? I see the benefits of both, but I also think it depends on your family. For us, we mainly stay inside." Of course, she always wants to stay inside that stinking, filthy shelter room. Ideally, during a heat wave, you're going to gravitate towards water. Naturally, I think most humans do. She's intelligent, isn't she? Which leads to very overpopulated water spots. I have always been cautious in these situations, as I see the risks outweigh the benefits of momentary entertainment. So there's all these risks that she sees outweighs her children having fun. Now, she's going to get into these risks. She says, "Let's try to remember that we don't all need to have the same mindset. It's okay if you don't agree with me." Personally, I'm glad I don't agree with anything she says. Can you manage to take in my perspective with an open mind and non-judgmental approach? I always try to for others. Let's break down some of the reasons to avoid leaving your cool home during a heat wave. Number one, most obvious, the increased risk of heat exhaustion, especially in kids. Well, Stephanie, that's why you make sure that they have access to shade. You make sure that they are resting throughout the day. And you make sure that they have plenty of hydration to avoid heat exhaustion. Number two, increased risk of febrile seizures. Okay, so as far as we know, it's the youngest two that are at risk of having seizures, right? Well, it's definitely not going to hurt to leave Manova behind for once, since she gets to do absolutely everything. So leave the youngest two with Drew and enjoy some time with your older two daughters. Number three, overpopulation means that much more exposure to icky crap you don't want to bring home. Well, I hate to tell her, every time you step over that threshold and outside, or every time you step into a store or anywhere, you're exposed to germs and whatnot. So it's just not when it's hot outside in overpopulated places. You run into stuff no matter what time of the year, what time of the day, what the temperature is, or where you go. Number four, higher temperatures can result in more difficulty breathing for kiddos who have existing respiratory problems. Okay, well, we've never heard about any of her children having respiratory issues. And again, you make sure that if they're asthmatic, you have their inhalers with them. You take precautions if you know that they may have trouble. It's something you learn to deal with. Or you leave the children affected in the house if you're going to do something. Number five, overcrowded spots are not a great option for parents with young kids. Okay, if she can't handle these young kids, perhaps she shouldn't have had so many kids. That's just the way I feel about it. Number six, this one may be extreme, but I don't care. Overcrowded spots mean too much opportunity for there to be any kind of person around you and your family. Ideally, don't want to have good sense of the people in your company. I mean, I get that to make new connections, you inevitably have to meet strangers. But I think there is better ways to approach it. Caution never hurt anyone, but a lack of it sure did. Well, I hate to tell her, even in a non-crowded space, there's a risk of running into people that you'd rather not. So, going to the grocery store, you run a chance of running into somebody that you would not want to be around. So what is she talking about here? It's excuse after excuse after excuse to not do anything with these kids. It's number seven. It's difficult to find a spot to let you family settle in and enjoy the environment with high counts of people. I don't know, maybe we are different in that sense. But when we go somewhere as a family, it's to enjoy our time as a family. That's usually what most people do when they go out. They want to enjoy the time. Of course, if we had the intentions of going with friends, that would be different. And don't get me wrong, when approached by new acquaintances, we are welcoming and try to leave a lasting positive impression. Number 8, the lines at some places. You spend half your time standing doing nada. That is not at all ideal for small children. Heck, our older 3 kids barely have that attention span. LOL. Well, you go somewhere where there isn't lines, like, say, a free splash pad at a park that are all around you. What's the problem with that? Then she says, take it with a grain of salt. I get that we run our household a little differently, but we do what works for our family, as everyone should. Then she decides she's going to run her mouth in the comments. She says here, okay, these comments are already out of control. So you're really about to just disregard the part where I mentioned children who have respiratory problems shouldn't be outside in extreme heat and increased risk for children who have seizure conditions? I don't know which kids have these respiratory issues, these mysterious issues she's all of a sudden talking about out of nowhere. It's almost like I don't want my kids having unnecessary seizures and asthma attacks because I care about their well-being or something. If you cared about their well-being, you would get a job to get them housing and get them out of that nasty shelter. Oh no, it's because I want to keep them cooped up inside in this tiny little motel room I call heaven. Laughing emoji. Get real, y'all. When will you realize I know my kids better than you ever could? That may be true. She knows her kids better, but she doesn't care about these kids. There are so many things you could take these kids to do. In a heat wave, she doesn't have to take these kids to do something outside. Why can't she take them to free museum days inside, air-conditioned museums? Story times at libraries. That's air-conditioned inside. There's all kinds. If I Googled free things she could do in the Portland area, air-conditioned, even inside, I'm sure there's a whole list of things she could do. But she chooses not to. She could take them to splash pads outside. And she could do this while Drew's at home during the day. So, because she's too bougie to get on the public transportation. It's disgusting, the germs, the people that ride public transportation, all these complaints she's had. And, she has no thoughts, these kids. And she's never had a problem going outside in the yard at this shelter, or whatever you want to call it, to play before. Put up that little splash pad out there, let them run through that. Go out there and spray them with those. She's never had a problem using their water hose before. I mean, this makes no sense at all. Why is she so against taking these kids to do anything? And then she's going to blame it on the heat. She doesn't do anything with them in the winter either, or the spring, or the fall. It doesn't matter what the temperature is. She has no desire to take these kids anywhere because she doesn't want to. And she'll blame it on we don't have money or this or that. But people have given her lists of free things to do in the area. And then, these kids are going to go back to school in the fall. And y'all know, that first day back, the teacher always asks you, and they go around the whole classroom, tell us about your summer. And this kid's going to say, oh, we went to the beach. Oh, we went on a vacation. Oh, we went to the park and we were at the splash pads. We went to the museums. They're going to have all these different things, these kids, that they did all summer. And her kids are going to sit there and say, we were in our dirty shelter room all summer. Wait, my mom let us go to the movie projector at night with the neighbor one time. So far, that's all these kids have had in their summer, is she let them go to the movie projector night with the neighbors. That's it. It's excuse after excuse with her. She doesn't deserve to have these kids. And like I said, there's no reason she can't leave the younger 2 behind in the air condition and go enjoy time with her 2 daughters. When's the last time she spent time with just her 2 daughters, her oldest daughters? I would venture to say probably before the baby was ever born. So that's going on 2 years now. And like I said, there's plenty of air-conditioned activities in her area. But, no, we can't do nothing. We have to leave them cooped up in this motel. But no, then when it gets dark after 9 o'clock at night, that's when she wants to let them outside, the most dangerous time of the day, and you're complaining about being around people. But you're in this neighborhood that you call, quote-unquote, sketch. But you'll let your kids go outside and play after the sun goes down when it's dark outside. But we can't do nothing with them during the day. Let me know what your thoughts is on this repulsive Stephanie Jenkins. In my opinion, she's disgusting and a poor example of a mother.